Oh my
Hey, what's up?
I
Welcome to
I
Angular
love
Air.
you.
I'm
Justin,
Justin
I love
Schwarzenberger,
you.
and
I
today's
love
show
you,
we're going to be talking
Justin.
about Angular Connect and
I
the
love
future
you.
beyond Angular
I really
Final.
love you,
But before
man.
we get into that,
I
um,
really love
sorry,
you,
we got our guest
Justin.
doing his thing. So, anyways, before we start, let me tell you about
Oh
some
my God.
Angular training upcoming. Our friends and awesome Angular trainers, John Papa and Dan Wallin, will be doing a 2-day intensive Angular 2 training class in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida on October 6th and 7th of 2016. So that's like tomorrow almost. They'll be covering all the basics to get you up and running with Angular 2. So come enjoy some education and beach time. Go to www.ng-learn.com to get your ticket and learn more. All right, let's get into it. Today on our panelist, we've got Mike. Mike, how's it going?
Not too bad. How's it going, Justin?
Not bad. Glad to have you here. And our guest today, the guy that's got more hearts than Link at Endgame of Legend of Zelda, Mr. Shai Reznik. Shai, how you doing?
I'm not sure what you just said, but I'm good. I'm good.
Cool.
Mike, what is your last name?
My last name is Brocky. Most people know
I
me
knew
as
that.
Broccoli, but however you want to pronounce it's good by me.
I really
Cool.
love you, Mike. And Justin, I really love you.
See, tons of heart. Hey, we love you back. I'm telling you, it's awesome. All right, so Shai, before we get into things, we're going to talk about Angular Connect today. We're going to talk about the future of Angular beyond its final release and where things are going. But before we do that, you got anything cool you're working on? Anything interesting you've run against? What you got going on?
Yeah, actually, I've been working super hard for the past few months on several courses that I'm gonna release soon. It was supposed to be released before Angular Connect, but apparently video editing takes lots and lots of time. So, and especially the kind of video editing that I'm doing, which is if a normal course takes like tons of time, like my courses takes like 3 times more, because I really want to give people the experience of getting like fast-paced material and not boring, in a not boring way. So I've been working on a TDD course, which is the most boring subject ever, which we've managed to make it really funny and really cool, and I think with the really nice angles to think about. And we're building real life application, sort of real life. It could be a real life application, and not just a calculator or a to-do list. So it's gonna be great. So I'm planning to release it, I think by the end of this month, by the end of October, and then focusing on Angular 2.
Sweet.
So yeah.
Sweet. Okay,
That's
and
my
where are you doing these courses at?
All right, highres.io. Right, I forgot to mention. So my website is highres.io, and it's web development courses, which are simple, funny, and really short and to the point courses. So if you want to check it out, it's highres.io.
Perfect.
HIREZ.
Cool. All right, Mike, what do you got going on?
I work for a consulting company here in Pittsburgh and just been continuing building on an Angular 2 application. I've been going through watching a whole bunch of the videos coming out of Angular Connect, trying to take some of the best practices and tips and ideas and suggestions and learning from other people who are learning through Angular 2 and trying to improve my architecture, coding decisions, break out of code, and just trying to structure things appropriately and trying to always keep improving, always keep learning.
But Mike, I thought you're like the king of Angular 2. You're on the CLI. You're the master of the Angular CLI. How can you not know everything?
It's circular is what it is. So I'm teaching them, and then in turn they're teaching me. It's circular. It's really it's complicated, but not too bad.
Okay.
Very cool. Well, one of my most recent things I'm working on is trying to figure out, myself and another coworker, how do you handle like utility functions or utility code within your Angular 2 app? Like, do you write them as functions and then you import them in and use them places? We kind of looked at doing that first, and we decided, well, you can't really elegantly kind of do a dependency injection or constructor injection at that point. So we opted with, well, what if we do those as classes? We create these TypeScript classes, and that way we can leverage the dependency injection to bring these into components and services and stuff like that, and do these utility functions. When I talk about that, I mean something like I need to format and do some manipulation to a string or do some calculation, that these are like these pure functions that need to be used throughout the application. So we've been kind of discussing that and like what's a strategy within an Angular 2 app.
Where did you discuss it?
At work. Just yesterday.
Where exactly? Where exactly at work?
Oh, at my work at SoCreate. I work at SoCreate.
No, exactly inside of the office.
Like,
Where
okay,
exactly?
So we were, at one point, we were in my coworker's office. And then we moved to the hallway because we were on our way to lunch. And we talked a little bit there. And then it was in my car. And
did you have a meeting in your car? Or like how many people?
Two. Just two.
Oh,
so myself and another person. So it wasn't too complicated. But yeah.
Okay.
I think that's enough for internet consensus. So I think we're good.
I think you just need at least one person to agree with you, and then I think you're good. So
yeah.
All right, Shai, let's get into Angular Connect. Mike and I, we lament the fact we weren't there, so you're going to have to do our coverage here on this. So let's talk about Angular Connect. Let's talk about your talk in particular to begin with, because we're going to have to say your talk was pretty awesome and pretty inspiring. So tell us about it.
Okay. So first of all, if you haven't seen the tweet, we'll probably put it in the show notes. I dressed as a banana in a box, and Jeff Cross actually helped me pull it off. And this banana actually belongs to Tracy Lee, who gave me this banana and just forgot about it. And I basically stole it. So Tracy, if you see it, tough. So yeah, Angular Connect. Angular Connect was such a great experience. Really fun conference. And so I have to admit, I experienced only the second day, because I was my lecture, my talk was on the end of the first day. So I was stuck in my hotel room as always, working on the talk itself, and I saw only the keynote. But other than that, I managed to watch it after the conference. Not all the talks, but a lot of the talks from the first day. So I completed half of them or something like that. But overall, it was a really fun conference. Lots of cool lectures, which I will I'll mention a few of my favorites. And I think Pete and Josh and Ed and White October, they managed to create the environment or the cool connection spirit they wanted from Angular Connect. So lots of hallway talks, lots of cool stuff to do in the rooms, besides the actual talks, which were excellent. So really cool conference. I have a few stories from that conference, stuff you normally don't talk about in shows, you don't share. So I have cool behind the scenes stories. So I might offend some people that they don't know I'm gonna tell these stories about them. So, but I don't care.
I can see that Justin already has his finger on the mute button. We're okay.
Where's it at? Where's it at? Hey, I wasn't there, so I don't have to worry about it. Whatever you want to say. But before no, I'm just kidding. We'll still
you
keep
weren't there, right?
balanced,
I can make stuff up. So they
right,
had a
right.
dinosaur and yeah, okay.
So before we get into the juicy stuff there, which will be super interesting, since we're talking about the feeling that you had, the connection and all that stuff that was going on throughout the conference, your talk kind of covered that concept as well. Let's talk about your talk, because I think it was pretty important for our community as a whole, and the messages that you had, they were very uplifting and positive. And so why don't you just give us a rundown really quick of what it is for the people that haven't seen your talk yet, and they should.
Okay, thank you very much, first of all. So my talk was called "Why I'm Betting My Future on Angular 2," and it actually I'm in that talk. I'm actually telling the true story of where it came from, and I will save it from now. But it came from an actual talk, and it was so after ngConf, I was like thinking about this subject a lot, about why was it so instinctively like why it felt correct for me to choose Angular 2, and I've been like dwelling in this subject for a lot of time, and I submitted this talk as part of others like talks that I submitted, and the guys from Angular Connect picked this talk, and then I actually needed to formulate wrote a blog post about it, which was supposed to be my first blog, my first Hi-Res blog, and it had 3 points in it: experience, innovation, and community. This was the original 3 points I had. Why I'm choosing Angular 2, and as usual, before a talk, I really try to think how I can make it more interesting, how I can deliver this point in a non-boring way, and it always get me into this kind of loop of like thinking about one. So I had a great idea how to deliver it, and like I thought it was great, and then I tried it and I wrote the script, and it was and then I thought about another. I had like the first idea to deliver this talk like in an Ocean 11 style of talk, like a poker style, because I'm betting my future. So it was how to analyze the poker hand and stuff like that, which was a cool idea, but I realized I don't have enough time to prepare it. Then I moved to another idea which I had for like doing a board meeting. Like I'm the CTO of a company, and I'm trying to convince the board members why to choose Angular 2 for the next like big enterprise product. And I was like supposed to address the audience as the board, and just to dub like people from like make believe that they ask a question and answer them and stuff like that. So it was supposed to be fun and cool. But then I thought about maybe people will only will think that all of the message, the message behind the talk is like goofy, right? And they won't take it serious. And then, so the message, just to, so I won't ruin the talk for you if you haven't seen it, but the overall message was that we should invest in Angular 2 because of the Angular core team. And there are 3 characteristics which they have experience. They have like an innovative team, and they're masters at building communities. And
yeah, I love that quote that you had, that you said their community building level is master, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, exactly. Because and this is subconsciously, this is what I was thinking when I want to choose, when I evaluated the different like frameworks and for my next few years, because I'm investing like in Hi-Res. I really want to focus on one framework and one thing, and not confuse like people who just getting into front-end development. I want to teach them opinionated stack. which I believe they get everything they need from, and not like learn everything. Although I think learning lots of different languages is cool if you have the time, because it opens your mind. But other than that, okay. So this was the main point, and I didn't want it to be like I don't know, lost in all of the jokes or the character or stuff like that. So I decided to do a serious talk, and then I sat down for 2 weeks and I prepared a comparison, like really deep talk with technical reason and all the 3 reasons, like the community reason, all that stuff. And I had like a 2-hour talk. And I came to Angular Connect. I flew with a 2-hour material. And I was like, again, how am I keep getting into this point before talk where I don't have stuff ready before like a day?
Didn't that kind of happen at NGConf as well? I mean, we have a previous episode of AngularAir where we had you on. You were telling us the backstory on that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I promised myself it will never happen again, and it did. So I was like a day before with like no real talk and no slides, and I had only like 2 hours of material. And then I came to the keynote of the first day, and I saw like the keynote, and they were talking about most of the stuff that I want to cover. Mishko and Jules, and they talked about and introduce people and invite people to the stage to talk about their points, and their points also covered what I want to talk about. So I was then like looking at like the keynote, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so that I can delete, and this this point I can delete, and it hit me that during the keynote, it hit me like, okay, these 3 things that I thought about, which weren't connected to the Angular core team, which was like an Angular experience and innovation and like community, it actually come from the Angular core team. This is the reason. And it hit me in the keynote of the same day that I was supposed to deliver the lecture. And then I went back to the room and started like connecting the dots and removing parts and like preparing the slides. And I had like that, like on point. I was like in 4 o'clock, my talk was in like 4:55, and in 4, I was done with the slides. I had 1 practice and went straight to the hall, to the conference. And when I got there, everyone, like I saw Naomi from the Angular team. She was one of the MC. She was telling the crowd, okay, she was spelling my Twitter, my high-res Twitter name to the crowd and the live stream, like H-I-R-E. Okay, send him a tweet to get over here, like immediately. And I was there, like preparing, miking up, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And and I came to the stage, and she was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm 20 minutes before my time. I'm good. Everything's good. And apparently they were early on the talks, and they want to start earlier, and I didn't know that. So and then they decided to stick with the program, and she was like, oh, okay, so you're right, and okay, so let me tell everyone to to tweet an apology. And I was like, great marketing for me, I don't care. Okay, tweet as much as you want. So it was a fun story, and so yeah, so about that talk, I have 2 things to say about it. First, I was worried because I removed all the technical reasons from my talk. And I know that some of the people maybe wanted to know the comparison, right? How do I compare it to other frameworks? Why do I think there are the technical reasons? And I kind of touched on it very briefly, but I told everyone I have a blog post ready, like all the material, the 2 hours material are already written. So I'm gonna publish a blog post on the technical stuff. And it was the last lecture of the day. If I went and talk about all the technical details, people will probably shoot me and then want to go and I don't know, probably won't stay for the party after a technical boring talk. And so I decided to drop the technical stuff and just focus on the non-technical reasons. And I was worried that some of the people, or maybe most of the people, or all of the people, will hate me for it and will not like my talk. But I decided just to go with my heart and just be brave and talk about stuff that maybe no one is actually talking about in all the blog posts or other, and the court won't talk about themselves. Okay, so I'm in a position to talk about what I'm seeing as the truth.
I think that's what made it great. I mean, is the fact, just like you said too, I mean, nobody's saying it. They're not going to say it. So the fact that you said it was great. And then all the other technical stuff that you talk about, I mean, that's out there, right? We can get those answers for there. But this whole idea and this notion that like their ability to build this community and the community around Angular hasn't been talked about a whole lot, right? And so to bring that into focus was excellent and needed. And I think helps people to be encouraged about like, wow, this is a good home. This is a great place to go to. There's a great framework and platform to get behind because of all this other stuff. You know, yeah, I don't want to spoil any of the talk because people should watch it. They should watch it. But you know, your little part where you talked about your experience going into other communities and how abrasive they were, and then how open the Angular community is. You know, it's great.
Yeah, I'm actually. So I forgot to mention lots of things in that talk because, you know, I had only one rehearsal. So, but one of the things I forgot to mention is that by delivering this talk, I don't want to bash on other frameworks. I think that I know I have experience with the Angular community, and I have bad experience from older communities, like few years back, and I've been with Angular for 4 years, so I'm pretty much with Angular. So I know everyone, and I know how people are talking with each other on GitHub and behind the scenes, and how they treat like other people, and the amount of respect people have for one another in this community, and in the core team and in the outer core team, like Mike here is a good example. So I know all the inner stuff. That's why I think I'm in a position to give this talk or to deliver this talk for people who are kind of from the outside, like they know about Angular from the blog post. They didn't really been a part of the community, which is great. You know, lots of people are moving from other technologies and they're assessing like their next move. And I think it's a good point to deliver. Hey, look at how things are looking from the inside. Okay, I'm your inside guy. Okay, like I'm your inside Shai. Okay, and I'm like as a consultant that I'm always like giving the inside information bits and stuff like that to my clients. I want to give this insight to all of the rest of the world who might watch this talk and try to have 1 or 3 more reasons to choose Angular. And I didn't want to bash any other framework because I don't think that I'm in a position to bash, and I'm not that kind of guy. And I think that the other communities, I have lots of friends from the React community, from the Ember community, and which are awesome people, which are really people who I consider good friends and I really love. So I can't really talk about, I didn't want, and it's not also one of the cool things, it's that it's not the Angular spirit, right? You will never hear an Angular core team, and it's kind of what my point was in the talk. You will never hear them bash on other technologies. And that's why you will probably never hear the second circle of people, right? Like the speakers and the community leaders. They will also want, probably not that everyone is perfect, but probably most of them won't bash on other technology or people, because in the end of the day, we are all trying to solve the same issues, right? Web development, and we're all in the same pool. And once you give people like shirts of something, like a tag or a label, they're starting to, no, this is better, that is better. It's all bullshit, basically. It's everyone in the same pool, and everybody try to learn from each other, to help to each other. And yeah, so this was my talk. So I tried to make it, I told everyone, like from the speakers, before I knew what I was going to talk about, I told everyone to that it's going to be a serious talk. Okay, so don't come to the talk if you want to hear only the funny stuff or the NG show and stuff like that. It's going to be a serious talk. And part of the speakers didn't come because they thought it's going to be boring. And what I realized is that I can really quickly take a boring, maybe not a boring subject, but a serious subject, and maybe inject like little fun into it, and make it more like, maybe more energetic. So two things that I think were fun about this talk is, first of all, I'm gonna spoil it for you, but first of all, a day before I took the flight on Sunday, last Sunday, I was driving in Tel Aviv, driving in my car back home, and saw like the beach, and people are playing, and like sun, and everything great. And this Julio Iglesias song started playing in my radio, and I was like, seeing like an 80s scene from a movie, like people playing on the beach and Julio Iglesias in the background. And I was like, started having this like stupid like grin on my face, and I was like thinking, what if I will start my talk with the Julio Iglesias song and make everyone in the crowd start clapping their hands in a silly manner, like they're in a concert. And I will inject Julio into my talk. And instead of a short time or something silly like that, I will have some other silly thing, which is called Julio time. So I did it, and it was great. And people actually came up to me afterwards and asked me, hey, why so little Julio time? We wanted more Julio. So it was
I gotta say, when I watched your talk, I was watching it at home, and I Chromecast that thing onto my 70-inch TV, because that's the only way to watch Shai is in high res, right? And I was home alone on my couch by myself, and when Julio time came on, I'm clapping like solo dork there. I'm like looking around, nobody's there, but hey, it's sucked me in. I mean, your entertainment level is like here.
Oh, nice.
But at the same time, it's carrying a great message. The whole social aspect is, you could have given the bits, you could have given the ones and zeros. Why Angular? Why not this or anything else? But to be able to give it the social aspect of, to be able to pull in other people in the community. And speaking of pulling in people from the community, hey Jeff, how's it going?
How's it going, guys?
Jeff.
Hey Jeff.
Good. Are you being chased by the cops? Where are you?
No.
Okay,
I just got out of my meeting, so I wanted to call in right as soon as I could, just to say hi. My favorite people on the Hangouts. So I'll let you guys continue, and I'll just throw in my commentary like atom bombs whenever I can.
Sweet.
Okay. Just don't get arrested. So we were talking about right. Mike was saying about the social,
the other one,
right? Yes. The aspects of the. So thanks. That was my goal. And after the talk, people came up to. So I was like, I didn't know how people will react to it, and I thought that it will be like a disaster. And actually, people came up to me and told me they enjoyed the talk, and it made them actually like made their decision easier. And they actually also other people tweeted it, and it was a great feeling to know that maybe some of the people didn't like it, because they were expecting the technical, but other people did like it, and for those people, I think it was good. Another fun thing about this talk is when I mentioned that I was in the keynote, in the opening keynote of the first day, where Mishko talked and Jules, and I was sitting in the front row next to Pete Bacon-Darwin, one of the organizers and the Angular core team member. So he was saying like, hey, you know what we did this year? We have a closed captioning screen, and there are people who are actually writing everything you said live, so people could read it. And I was looking like at the far left of the room, and I was like looking at the screen, and then I looked at Pete, and I was like, Pete, you don't know what a mistake you just did. You don't realize.
And why is that? Why is that?
Yeah, and he didn't realize, like, and he looked at me like, okay, and I was like, okay, just wait. And because I saw that, and I was thinking, oh, my mind works in a weird way. I'm like, most of the people look at the closed captioning screen and they think, oh, great, like a good service for people who can hear the talk. And I'm thinking, how can I mess with those guys? So I knew that, like, I will improvise something, but I knew that my English is not that good most of the time, especially if I'm not practicing it. And I knew that some of the words I can't really pronounce that great. So if I will get stuck on some word, I will start messing with the with the people. And I was stuck on the characteristics. You see, I can't even say it now. Characteristics word. So I just went with it and started and started. Let's see if I can. I can share my screen probably and show you the end result. So let's see. How can I share my screen here? Right, I do it here. Okay, so somebody actually took a picture. So I was like, character. And then it's just starting to go with it. So let me see if I can share my screen. Screen, yep, this one. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Justin, make sure you set the focus on Shai.
Okay.
Okay, can you see it? So this basically they actually wrote everything I said. So they're like, I was like, yeah, Shai is pretty. I think I'm falling in love with him, and they actually wrote everything. So they were great, and and yeah, it was great. And people actually really laughed at this point. Not left, but laughed. Okay, so great. So yeah, this is yeah. I will share the tweet. So great. So that was 2 fun facts about my talk, and I think risking people not liking this talk, I think that the people who did like this talk, I think it was worth it for them. So that's about my talk. Other than my talk, a few other great talks that were in Angular Connect were Ben Lesh, where he talked about observables. And actually, the first time I actually figured out some things about observables, because every time people are talking about observables, although I know I've been learning about observables for like 2 years now, and I still, every time I read about it or listen about it, it's always another piece of it like falls into place. So Ben did a great job. Victor did a great job explaining about the router. Lucas did an awesome job also explaining about the observables, which I think he also did a really like nice storytelling around the subject, which made it greater, and or clears, sorry. The Gleb also, his like Gleb's lectures are also great. Like he always bring it. Really super smart dude. So he did a great job about security. Nir and Shmuela, who are my friends from Israel, also did a community talk about how you can start your community and what things can you do and their experience with it, and really actually extending my point from my talk with a different angle, which we didn't plan. So I didn't know what I'm going to talk about on the last minute. So they also did a great job, and Tracy also did a great job around the social, like how to be nice in the social media. Tracy Lee, and also Jeff, both Jeff well play, right? Okay.
That's
Sorry,
right.
Jeff. Yeah, and Jeff Cross. So they both actually integrated a few tricks into their talks to get the crowd like responding. So our Jeff here, he did chanting, right? Maybe you can talk about that, Jeff.
Yeah. I mean, the topic of my talk was integration between Angular Universal, the library that I manage with Patrick, about server rendering Angular 2 apps. And I wanted to talk about the specific CLI integration, but also, like, as in a broader sense, I was trying to talk about what it means to the community, what it means like conceptually, and just it is a different departure from the way the Angular community has been in the past. Because, you know, if you remember back in the Angular 1 days, like, people were all over the map, especially you look at, I mean, in some bad ways at some points, you know, where you have these huge controllers and spaghetti code. So, you know, the idea of trying to hone in on a common set of conventions and use the CLI as the point, how you kind of codify those is different. It's something that, like, the Ember world has kind of embraced, but up to this point, not the Angular world. So I talked about sort of that difference in mentality and sort of what it means. And I tried to rally people behind jumping on board. And, like, because the strength of doing something like this comes from when everybody is on board and everybody has bought into the benefits. And, you know, things aren't perfect. It doesn't mean that, like, right off the bat, every single thing in the CLI and single thing in the conventions that we agree upon is exactly perfect, but that over time they will start to get better and start to benefit everybody in the community. So we sort of move forward together.
I want to jump in and embarrass Mike, because I think a lot of the stuff you talked about comes from Mike and the CLI team, Hans and Felipe, and Sean, and also Ward and John Papa, and all the core team who are working like really hard to make it like because it's really hard to make it like all the pieces to work together, right? So these guys are doing like I see the chats and I see behind the scenes what they're doing. So they're doing an amazing job, and Mike is getting red now.
Yeah,
which is
well, I don't want to make this about me or about the CLI, but we try to.
It's about you. It's about you.
It's about me, yeah, all about me. No, but what we're doing kind of piggybacks on what you're talking about. The whole idea of the community is that we're listening to what the community is doing and what the community is trying to solve and how to solve those problems in a consistent and well thought through manner. Not just for the CLI, but also from the style guy, bringing in those ideas, bringing in the best ideas from the router, and surfacing all of the great things that the core team's doing, to be able to bring things out like Universal, to bring things out like AOT, to bring lazy routing, all that stuff in there. Listen to the community, switching from System.js over to Webpack. Speaking of talks from Angular Connect, Stephen Fluent gave a great talk about the Angular CLI that was a little bit more in depth to give a little bit more idea of what's happening underneath the hood. So yeah, you just run ngserve and you're like, oh great, my application's running, super. But a little bit of pulling back the curtain to see exactly what's happening there, that it's actually run the Webpack configuration that eventually will get opened up so that you have a little bit more access to the build process. But for right now, I think it satisfies most of the cases that are out there. And that's the idea.
He's a super professional speaker. Like he really have like stage presence, Stephen. And like one point about what you just said, the fact that we have now, like your point, Jeff, the point that you made in your talk, the fact that we have now the CLI, which is works together with the style guide people and all the feedback from the community, is something that for an OCD person like me is such a great experience, like a satisfying experience. I think I was the first, I don't know, maybe, but I think I was the first guy who created an issue on the Angular 1 GitHub repository back in 2013, I think, in January of 2013, which was about, hey, what about the style guide? Okay, or a common folder convention or something like that. And I was, and someone else from the community, I think, answered, it's not the place here. It's like, okay, take it offline, right? Or take it like to another repository. And eventually John Papa came up and Todd Moto also, and they came up with the Angular style guide, which was so hard to create because it was lots of rules, but they actually did the first step there, and for many of us. And now to have it like an official thing is such a satisfying moment, and really like it really speaks of the maturity of Angular and of us as a community. But Jeff, I asked about what you did to warm up the crowd, not don't evade it.
Yeah, and actually, I do want to thank you, Shai, because I did run my ideas by you and Lucas, and you guys both gave me back some good feedback and good ideas. So, I did two things. You know, first to try to get the crowd into it, I had them chanting Marcy's name. Marcy Sutton was speaking right next door in track 2, and the idea there is I just wanted them to, like, I don't know, like it was right at the end of the day. I was the last talk of the day and of the conference. And so I figured I'd get their blood going, but also potentially if we could get Marcy to hear it, that'd be kind of a funny thing too. Unfortunately, I did ask her afterwards, and we did not get nearly loud enough, which was a little bit sad. But you gotta, like, at some point you gotta, like, know when to, like, move on. So, like, I tried twice really quick, and they were okay loud, and like, okay, we'll move on. So that was okay, successful, but not really that great. And then
yeah. But the
what
other
were you gonna say about
no.
Yeah. For the other thing, which Shai gave me some good advice on, I want to do the crowd wave, and like basically, just like in baseball games or football matches, you have the crowd start on one side and just stand up, and do the wave. So actually they did a really great job, the first one, like in terms of, like, they executed it perfectly without even helping. The problem was no one, like, said anything. They were, like, completely silent, which was, like, actually a little eerie. and all you hear, even on the video, you hear Shai saying, "Tell them to yell, tell them to talk." And I was like, okay. All right, we're gonna do this again. We'll do this again. This time you actually have to yell while you're doing it, right? And then everybody did yell. And meanwhile, I had Lucas prepped for the second time that I had printed out this huge Angular flag. Like, it was, I don't know, like 2 foot by 3 foot piece of cardboard with the Angular logo on it. So when the second time when they did the wave, Lucas, quickly ran with the flag or the front of the crowd. And that was, pretty funny. It was pretty well executed. So, no, I thought that was good. What did you think, Shai, the second time?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I think, and somebody took a video of it from the back of the room, and it looked amazing. I actually wanted to do it also, but I did it in ngNL. I usually do it in my meetup group to get the crowd like warmed up, and we usually do it from the front row to the back. But you did it from side to side, and it was really beautiful, like to see from the front row and from the back row in that video, like really looked like everybody and everybody played along like very nicely. And people usually when I do it in the start of the talk, and people always look at me like in Amsterdam in ngNL, everybody looked at me like, what the hell is this guy want? Like, what are you like? Why are you making us do it, right? But after they do it, everybody like have fun. Everybody with smiles on their faces, and I think it's very important, especially if you're after lunch or you're the last talk of the day, and that stuff. That's why I did the Julio Iglesias bit.
So here's the question. So Justin's already admitted that he was clapping along with your Julio song. I want to know, Justin, during Jeff's talk, were you standing in front of your 70-inch TV doing the wave?
I cannot confirm or deny that waving was happening. But
do you have a cat?
It's fun. No, I have a dog.
I will
Did your
say,
dog
it did
also
come across well across the video, though. It felt like it went over very well across the video stream.
Yep, he did.
No, I was definitely happy. The only thing, okay, so I will say one thing that I am embarrassed by, actually, that maybe you guys noticed, you must have, is I had my stupid tunnel blick window open in the upper right-hand corner of my screen, and I did not notice it. I had the entire presentation up, and like I don't know why I didn't see it. Like I mean, if I saw it, I would have like closed it down or whatever. It's like one of those like notification windows like up in your upper right-hand corner, and I don't know. I was just like laser focused or whatever, and so the entire presentation, when I watched, it was only when I watched it on replay that I saw this, and I'm like, what the man.
I did notice. However, I don't think it took away from the talk at all.
It always happens. It always happens.
There's got to be something that goes wrong.
I had in one talk, I had like a reminder, call grandma or something like that, like big on the screen, and I was like, okay, that's professional. So, yeah, I should call my grandma now.
That's awesome. Always entertaining. Well, hey, should we let's move on to talking about what's next with Angular now that we're here with Final is out, and we got the Semver stuff coming forward, and just where are we going from now? What have you heard from people? Like, are people settling in? Are they excited about it? And just stuff like that. Anyone?
I'll tell you one issue that I've found in the repo that I'm rather excited about is the ability to surface observables. I know we've talked about it a little bit already with Lucas's talk and Ben's talk about surfacing observables, but to be able to get observables directly from DOM events is one of the things that's definitely looks to be on the roadmap in the not too distant future. So rather than having to either grab a hold of a view child to grab an element and then get an observable from an event, or to create a subject and then next from the event within the markup. There's looking at some simplified ways to be able to get a handle of different DOM events as observables. So that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to.
From a general level, I think the biggest thing in the community now is like getting your apps in production. Like there are some people, early adopters, that already have, but a lot of people that are just in the they have been building and now they're finally pushing it in, or maybe they did just start, but they're still thinking in terms of like actually moving quickly or whatever. So we're seeing, like, at least in Angular Universal, as well as like I know the other libraries and the other maintainers have told me that you're starting to see like a new batch of different types of changes or issues rather, because like once you actually have live users using your stuff, there's like, you know, you think you've worked through all the issues, but then there's like these edge case stuff that comes in or whatever. So we definitely have a lot of new issues that have come in, as well as still some lingering stuff that we're trying to clean up from the release. You know, so one thing I just mentioned for Angular Universal that we're doing is actually Brad was nice enough, like whether you know it or not, he actually was at Angular Connect. He stopped by for like an hour or something like that, and I managed to catch him and talk to him a little bit. So he was nice enough to you know, be open to like having more of the core team kind of involved in Universal, especially since Patrick and I are both like starting to spend a lot more time on just like our other projects and like work real, you know, our normal day job stuff. So Jeff Cross and Alex from the core team are going to like start spending a lot more time and kind of getting it more in line with the modules. So that's going to be super exciting. You start to see a lot more movement on some of the bigger long-term features like Java integration and other things that have kind of been shelved for a while.
Nice, good to hear.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So I heard like reactions from people in my community here, also in Angular Connect. So on one hand, people are super excited. People are really truly happy about the release and to finally start using Angular 2. And also I think people are asking questions, especially people who maybe come from the outside and are really concerned about Angular being compiled, and they're asking questions like comparing it to other like legacy technologies that used to compile to JavaScript and all that stuff. And I think it comes from maybe they are missing some of the knowledge about the new compiler and about how things are working, and that's why they're asking these questions, which then our job is to explain about these changes and what they are and what is this new compiler and how it works and how it's not taking like a whole different language like Java and compile it to JavaScript, but taking TypeScript, which is which more like ES6. And so I get a lot of these questions along the side of, hey, great, I started using the CLI and started like building my app, and although there is some learning curve, things are much clearer and things are looking like an exciting journey to take. I think we still have lots of things to make better. And I think now with the Semver stuff, I think like fixes are going to get in much quicker, and this is the time actually to maybe influence. If you are working on a project and you see like, instead of complaining about it, if you see like something that can be better, just like try to formulate a real good written issue about it and submit an issue. You can really make a difference. This is the exciting thing about Angular and about Angular 2, is that now we can actually like navigate or try to help navigating the way it's going forward, and to seal all the missing pieces that are still missing. And
yeah, I think that's one step that we're at now with looking at, okay, what are the patterns that are going to arise now that we got this stable API and everybody can start moving forward. So how are we going to figure out how you do state management and how you do these services and AOT and all those other things, like, and get people writing and talking about their experiences and what that is, and then to kind of figure out what may fit best and how people can take those examples going forward and saying that's how I'm going to look at building my app, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people looking forward to the future of what's coming, what's new, what else is out there. But I think that the keynote from Igor and Rob really laid out the clear picture of everything that's available, from routing to lazy routes to AOT to I18N and the translations and observables and forms and HTTP, universal. Everything that's there is a lot to take in. And I think that some people have dug into a little bit of it, and they just need to get have some time and to be able to play with and learn more about everything that's there, because there's a lot in there.
Yes, I really loved this talk from Igor, and really, I think both keynotes did a really great job of clarifying the misunderstanding about the new release and stuff like that. So I think they really did a great job about it.
Cool. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end here, so let's talk about upcoming conferences. We got NG Europe coming up, right? And any other ones we got coming up this year? Anybody know about?
NGConf? No.
NGConf.
NG Cruise,
NGNL, I think, and NG Poland, and you have lots of NGs in Europe this year.
So which ones are within 2016? And then like we got NGConf and NG Cruise coming up in 2017, right? So what do we got left for 2016 right now? NG Europe. Any other ones? Anybody knows about?
I do not.
Not that I think.
Or are we just on to the end of the year circuit? Now we're getting ready for 2017 and a ton of Angular.
Well, apparently, Justin, you and I are landlocked over on this side of the pond anyway.
Right. Cool. Yeah,
I really missed you guys there.
We missed you too. I mean, I
really missed you guys. In London.
I could imagine.
No, really.
All right, well, let's get to some picks.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me get my list here. I don't have a long list. I'll go ahead and go first because my list is nice and short here. I just want, my pick is this library called Chance. It's a JavaScript library, and it's used for generating random data. It's kind of cool. It has a bunch of functions and stuff in it for just generating sample data, text, usernames, addresses, all kinds of stuff. So it's great for doing some testing, for mocking APIs. You're using something like GraphQL and you want to get quickly set up with just some sample data coming back. You could throw this thing in there and have it feedback sample addresses and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's chancejs.com, and that'll be in the show notes. So Mike, what about you?
Actually, just launching today is a site called ultimateangular.com. It's a Angular learning site, primarily focused, as far as I know right now, around Angular 1, but also branching out into Angular 2. And it's being put on by Todd Motto and Lucas Rubelkey. Looks very promising and very interesting. So have a look and check it out.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, Jeff, you got anything for us, or?
Yeah, I just have one pick.
To avoid the cops.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I just have one pick. At the end of my talk, I brought up that I put up this site, AngularNation.org, and the whole idea is that I feel like although it's great to have people involved with Gitter and Slack and GitHub issues and whatnot, there is a huge portion of us that just isn't gonna do any of those, or isn't going to write a blog post, and their voice isn't necessarily heard. So easy way to just kind of brain dump, what you're thinking about your experience with Angular, good or bad. And what we're going to try to do, we've already gotten a ton of great entries, even in this past week. And what we're going to do is basically cultivate it and curate a basically high quality blog post at least once a month, just basically trying to give like kind of the state of Angular from the community point of view of like all these different stories that come in. So I actually have some really good ideas of how this is actually going to play out. And you'll see once we start publishing the blog posts, what you'll get a feel for what I'm talking about. But definitely, if you have any thoughts, any stories, that type of thing, go to AngularNation.org. You'll find the link there, and then just let us know what you're thinking.
Cool. And Shai, close us out. What do you got?
Yeah, I have 4 or 5. I don't know. I have many. So I'll do them quick. First of all, 3D printing. I started printing stuff as presents, which is kind of cool. You create all this weird stuff and give it to your friends. So I'm picking this. Also, and I forgot to mention, so I started mentioning Jeff Cross's talk. I think he also did a really great also did great stuff in his talk, like getting the crowd more energetic and stuff like that in the start. So watch his talk. Also, a really great thing about Angular Connect I forgot to mention was the workshops. They really brought cool, great workshops, and one in particular was Uri Shaked and Gil Fink, which are also good friends of mine. But objectively, they had like a superb workshop. They actually managed to, so Angular Connect handed out this Bluetooth camera, light bulbs, which you can really like connect via web Bluetooth and control the colors and stuff like that. So they actually did a workshop where you create an Ionic app, which then controls the light bulb. So it was amazing, and someone actually created an SMS service when you can send an SMS and pick the color of the light bulb, which was amazing. So this workshop. Also, I want to mention, in my talk, I showed a small 1-minute clip from a new YouTube series that I'm gonna release called Serious Dev Talk. Probably I will change the name, but currently it's Serious Dev Talk, where I think it's the craziest and funniest interview series, not only for developers, but I think one of the best interview series I ever saw. And I know I'm not objective, but seriously, I usually when I do stuff, I don't laugh from them because I did it and I know, and it's not surprising to me. But I watch the raw material. So I did this interview series with most of the core team, the Angular core team, and also people from the community, whoever I managed to get my hands on, and in ngConf and also in Angular Connect now. And it turned out amazing. So if you want to know when it's supposed to be released next month, so just join highres.io and I will like send out a pre-message when it comes out. You can check out a sample. If you watch my talk, I did I showed the one I did with bread, like one really small sample from that. And my last pick is Justin. I really like Justin. I really love you. I started this episode with saying I love you. And I really want everyone in the world to follow Justin on Twitter and send him love and hearts. So do it if you are hearing it and on your big screen TV now.
All right, Shai. All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Love you back. All right, well, thanks a lot for Jeff and Mike to joining us on the show, helping me try to wrangle Shai in here today. And thanks a ton, Shai, for all your insight and your information for joining us today. It was great.
Thank you. It was awesome.
All right. See you guys.